It's poppin', baby.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Crunch Time. I am Mel. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, normally when we have a guest, we usually try to make a big fuss about it, but he asked us not to make a big fuss about it tonight as he is the quiet storm of the team. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you tonight the best defender in all of Major League Indoor Soccer, Omar NaJJar. Omar, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Gotta let you get the flowers real quick.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, but I really do appreciate it.
You earned it. You earned it. Now, before we get started, I do have to give a shout out to our official sponsor, Clarissa's Confections. If you're looking for something delectable or even just something to snack on in the midnight hour, even if you want an adult treat, Clarissa's Confections is what you need. In order to get in touch with her, go to email her, sweetsbyclarissa@gmail.com, or call her on her business phone at 440-805-4303. Yeah, I like this last one. This Henny one that's the adult one. The strawberry. I might have to try that one. Ah, all right. With that being said, for those that don't know you, can you give us a little bit of background on you? Because we have that relationship, but for those watching that don't know you, we got to get you in the know. So tell us a little bit about you.
All right, so this is obviously I'm Omar NaJJar. I'm a defender for the Cleveland Crunch. This is my second season with the team. Just recently graduated in May of 2024 from the University of Mount Union. Played soccer there, and then I was born and raised in Akron, Ohio. But starting to make this the switch to Cleveland raised at this point. So, but yeah, it's a little bit about me.
All right. Now, you played college ball at Mount Union. I have to ask because obviously Mount Union is known for football, but for those that again don't pay attention or don't know because the football team is so good, they actually have a pretty good soccer team as well. So, what was it like playing up to the standard of one Mount Union soccer and number two playing in the OAC, which is obviously one of the toughest conferences?
It was awesome. I mean, the team that we had when I got there compared to what it looked like when we left, I mean, it was we improved and got better every single year. And then my last season there, we actually broke the record for most wins in a single season with 16,
Nice.
as well as the highest national ranking ever, which we were number 8 at one point. So yeah, it was I owe so much to that school and that team. So it's it was one of the greatest experiences ever. I'd recommend Mount Union to anybody.
Fair enough. Now, I do have to ask, um, when you got to the Crunch, or how did you get in touch with the Crunch? Because not a lot of people, you know, when they graduate, they don't hit the pros like you did. Because I remember going to the tryouts last year, and I was like, dude, he is tall. Like, why? Where do these guys come from? And it wasn't a bad thing. It's just you don't normally see the tall, lanky soccer players like you used to. So, how did you get scouted by the Crunch in order to get on the team?
Um, Actually, I wasn't at the tryouts last year. Unfortunately, I was still in my college season, and so um, Coach Manfoot, we played for the same club team growing up, so I had known him way back in the day. He was one of the players I looked up to. A lot of these guys were, but he was one of the players I looked up to mainly, and just reached out to him, see if I could come out to a training. Came out to one training, and he invited me back to another one, and just kept performing. I was at the bottom of the roster right when I got there, and just day in day out, every training session, just had to keep performing to the best of my ability and earn the respect of the older guys. That's the main thing, is those guys don't give respect out just for free to anybody. And so, but once you perform, you do well, you do what they ask of you. Um, they once the respect is earned, the guys are awesome. So it was tough at the beginning, but we got there.
I can believe it's tough because, the professional sports are seriously, the vets tend to not want you to, not only slip up, but they tend to not want you to get the respect so soon because they want to see how you do under pressure. So I completely understand that. But, watching you last season, I know it was tough for you, but what was your transition like officially those first 3, 4 games and maybe those first 6 games of the season going into the playoffs?
Last year it was interesting for me because I wasn't somebody that was really involved in the rotation much last year. I was just there as kind of a give guys an extra breather when they needed it, or um, maybe for an away game one of the defenders couldn't play. Those were the games I got the most minutes in, and um, it was tough. The adjustment from outdoor to indoor was tough, especially just hopping straight into the level that the crunch plays at was difficult. But once you get comfortable, um, you're playing with such high level players that as long as you take care of yourself, your teammates are going to be in the right spots. Everybody's going to work hard for each other. So you do what people ask of you, and things kind of take care of themselves. So the transition, once I felt comfortable, was huge, and you can see it in the change in numbers that I've had this season compared to last. Just the comfortability and the trust between the players trusting me. Um, that's been the biggest difference. I feel is I can feel the trust from the rest of the team, Coach Manfoot, the front office, everybody that has anything to do with the crunch. All I hear is just only positive feedback, only positive things from them, and it just makes the world a difference.
Now, that is a big deal because, again, that is a hard transition. Like that, I equate that transition of outdoor soccer to indoor soccer to outdoor football to arena indoor football because not a lot of people can make that transition and not get beat up, not get hurt, not feel like this maybe not be for me. I got to try something different. So to see you make the transition and what looks like seamlessly, that's big because in literally a year's turnaround, you've turned into the best defender in all of Major League Indoor Soccer. And I'm not saying that, yes, I feel that way, but when you go back and watch you on tape, you can see you frustrate a lot of guys when they have possession of the ball. It's just amazing to see how somebody, because again, the taller people in sports generally not very quick off the ball or on their feet, and when they look at you and they see you move the way that you do, I'm one of these days I'm gonna get a picture of somebody you're defending, and I'm just gonna post it so that everybody sees how frustrated they are.
Thank you.
It's one of those things where you've literally earned the right to be called the best defender because clearly we have not seen anyone else. And as a bonus to Coach Manfoot, you can play offense. You can shoot the ball. You're accurate, and goaltenders are hating it. I'm not against having you back. Like if we can get you for a lifetime contract, I'm all for it.
I hope the same.
Now,
I hope that's offers coming.
Now I have to ask this because this stretch of games was the most frustrating for me, not only as a media person but as a fan. This season, the stretch with Toronto, 3 games back to back to back. How did you prepare yourself to go into such a series with the same team? Because generally we don't see that happen often. Yes, we do see back to backs in the weekend, but like literally back to back in successive weeks. What did you do to prepare yourself for that stretch with Toronto?
I mean, the team we knew going into the game, we were the 1 seed and they were the 2 seed at the time, and so we knew that it was going to be crucial, and we kind of went into it with the mindset of we have to take at least 2 of these. Two of these pulls us away from them, gives us that extra game, 2 games advantage, um, which was huge. So obviously that was that was the mentality going into it. And then the first game, I still think about that game so often, but we dropped it in the fourth quarter and then ultimately in the shootout. But once that happened, the like I just gained such a, I don't want to say hatred, but just so frustrated, and just knowing that we had to travel to and play them next weekend and then bring them back to our place the week after that, it just brought like such a fire to me, and I know a lot of the players felt the same way. That we had to take care of business, and there's Canada's such a good side as well. So having to go to their place and come back with a win, especially the way we did, just it brought so much confidence and just momentum forward coming off of that game. And yeah, I mean, it was a difficult stretch. We were sick of seeing each other by the third week. I know that, but glad we took the 2 out of 3 that we needed, and just try to take the momentum and carry it on.
Yeah, because I was tired of seeing Toronto after the first game. Because like for those watching, understand how good the Crunch are because in 5 years since their return in 2021, so 5 years professionally, season wise, they've only lost I think 7 games. That's unheard of. And not only is that unheard of, it's unheard of in indoor soccer because at some point you're going to lose. Like there's you're going to run into that team that beats you. Most teams don't bounce back. Some teams do. Obviously, the Crunch are bouncing back and they're out for blood. But like most teams don't bounce back the way you guys did, and that's happened before in the past to where you'll lose to a good team and then the rest of the season everybody's taking it. Like everybody's catching it. So that first game, I remember it. I watched it at home. I was like, yeah, I don't like this team at all. It reminded me of watching the Chicago series.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, well, let me rephrase that for those watching. I'm sorry, the Chicago Mustangs. And I don't know this South Chicago team very well.
yeah.
We will see them on the 29th and the 30th, but I equate Toronto to the Mustangs a couple years back, and then the same turnaround game we win, you know, in overtime, and I'm like, yo, this is like, I gotta stop doing me like this.
Yeah, right,
I can't. Like it's heart wrenching. And then we
right.
finally took the game. We took the last one home. So I'm willing to bet that game not only sits with you, but the rest of the team, especially Coach Manflet. Coach Manflet don't like to lose often.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's gonna going into Chicago, what's gonna be the mindset for you as a defender? Because we know the Mustangs, especially the Mustangs, have the ability to score. They have the ability to, you know, not open the game up, but they have the ability to keep it close. And in Chicago, it is a hostile crowd. So, what is your mindset going into that series?
I mean, we know what needs to be done. We want the 1 seed real bad, and so that means we're gonna do our best to win out. And for me personally, I know they've got a couple super dangerous players on their team, and when we played them the first time, my mindset was the same. Was I'm not letting either of these guys score on me. Like if it's me versus them 1-on-1, I'm not letting them score on me. And that's the mentality I try to go into with every game, because obviously if every single person on the field wins their battles 1v1, we can't lose realistically. And so yeah, that's the mindset. We always go in with a defend first, um, get everybody behind the ball and just defend as a team, because we know that as a team, as an attack, because we attack with all 6 of us that are out there, even the goalie. Um, we know that we will get goals as long as we do as good of a job as we can as at keeping them out of the net. So that's the main mindset: is defend first, take care of what we can take care of, and then everything else will take care of itself.
Understood. Understood. We're going to take a very quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll finish with Omar because there are some things I still have to ask, especially when we circle back. I have a very good question I've been dying to ask you. So when we come
All
back,
right.
we'll take care of that. But first, we'll hit this commercial really quickly.
Hey, Cleveland soccer fans. For the first time in over 20 years, the Cleveland Crunch return home to the CSU Wolstein Center as Major League Indoor Soccer comes to Cleveland for its men's and women's finals weekend, April 11th through the 13th. Come check out all the fast-paced, goal-scoring action and watch your hometown Cleveland Crunch make their chase for a sixth league title and see who will be crowned the first ever Women's Major League Indoor Soccer champion. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com/Cleveland Crunch or scan the QR code and get your tickets now.
And we are back with the second part of the interview with the best defender in all of Major League Indoor Soccer, Omar NaJJar. I want to circle back because, again, your college days, you played at Mount Union, playing in the OAC. I don't even want to know about the transition. I want to know about the in-depth realization of being a defender against the likes of John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, and dare I say, I want to say it was Capital that had a decent soccer squad at one point.
Yeah.
What was it like in college going up against guys that really couldn't get around you as a defender?
It was interesting. I mean, in college, I played a little bit more. I was more of a midfielder, like a defensive midfielder, and so a lot of teams, the best player on the field plays attacking mid. So basically, every single game that I go out there, I'm man marking the best player, and I think it prepared me well for the indoor game because I think of arena soccer kind of like basketball, where you're guarding man for man just about all over the floor, and yeah, so I felt like it prepared me really well playing against a lot of those guys, all Americans, all region, all conference, all those kinds of players. It applied very well to the indoor game. So that was one transition I felt was pretty seamless was handling myself one-on-one.
Well, you answered my next question because I was going to, pick your brain about that because that's something you don't see when a defender such as yourself who played, midfielder, essentially attacking and defending, depending on the lineup. I always wondered what that would be like, but you just said it. It's like playing basketball. So it really helped you out because you're going from 11 to 6, essentially including the goaltender. So you really are one-on-one with whoever you're lined up against. So I imagine that was pretty easy for you. You probably were laughing at guys like, yeah, this is easy. I have to,
I've done this before. Yeah.
You? Just you? Oh, okay. So, going back to the series in Chicago, you've seen the Mustangs before. Obviously, there's a love-hate relationship with the Chicago Mustangs.
Yeah.
But with PAL Chicago, they are a new team. They're also a scrappy team. I've seen them in action. One of the expansion teams in the MLIS. But, again, this is Chicago, and as a professional player, I can say this part from experience. If you have never played in Chicago, you do not know how hostile it can get. And I'm not saying they throw batteries like Philadelphia or snowballs at you or anything like that, but it is a hostile crowd. And depending on the arena, that arena is going to get loud. Thankfully for you and the rest of the team, you've been able to manage being on the road with crowds that have been hostile towards you. But what I want to know is, what is it going to be like for you to play a back-to-back against two different teams and, try to stay fresh, even though you'll have, I believe, a week and a half off for finals weekend. So what is it going to be like for you? And what are your thoughts going into the weekend series to make sure, we, as a team, you guys come out on top with the regular season crown?
Again, it all goes back to just listening to the principles of Coach Manfoot. I mean, he preaches a lot of the same things, and I'm sure. I mean, I've heard the same spiel before every single game. Before every training, during every training. So that's really it. That's kind of the relief. I would, with lack of a better word, is just understanding that everybody that is going to the game has the exact same mentality. We all play by the same principles, and we just understand that we take care of those things, then that's all that really needs to be done. And those back-to-backs are really difficult, especially because POW Chicago, who will play on Sunday. They don't have a game on Saturday. So we'll be on the second game of a back-to-back, and they'll be fresh. So it'll be difficult, but we have a deep squad. We have a solid, we're all fit, especially coming off of we have this weekend off as well. So hopefully guys will be nursing some injuries and taking care of those so that when it's ready for Chicago, it's fully fit, everybody. And then from there, it'll be just doing what we can to take care of business, give everything we have, and then hopefully win those two. And then we have another, like you said, week and a half break before the playoffs to rest up.
Yeah, and Bobby, just want to let you know, Bobby, we thinking about you. We hope you come back soon because, I'm not gonna say we don't need you, but we miss seeing you on the field because that energy from Bobby and like you, Bobby, Mike, the same energy is there, and it's so funny to, not in a bad way, but it's funny to watch it because it's like your telepathy between the three of you guys is like awesome. So once you're looking at Bobby's looking at Mike, you know the setup for a goal is coming. And I want to read this stat off. And if it pops up, come on, don't be like that. As of right now, you're looking at regular season games. You have 26 points, 15 goals. What's the most you've scored in a season as a player, not just in the MLIS, just as a complete player?
Oh man, since I was in high school, I haven't been a goal scorer. So I think the most I scored in one season was my senior year of high school. I scored 7. So I honestly don't think before this past year that I had scored 15 goals in the last probably 5.
Oh wow.
So
well, look at it. I'm looking at it this way: like to see you improve the way that you have from college to the pros is awesome. That's something that the little ones fans are always, because you're one of the most mobbed players after the game, and that shows how much the fans love you here. So that's a great sign, and I hope, like I said, I hope we're able to keep you here for at least another couple years before you decide to hang it up. Now, going into finals weekend, when they announced that finals weekend was going to be here in Cleveland, what were your initial thoughts? Because I know for me, I was like, yeah, it's about time. I'm sick of seeing everybody else get it, and I know our fan base is totally better than anything else we've seen so far since the inception of the MLIS. It's not saying everybody else's fan base ain't great, but I know come April 11th, this is going to be rocky. So what was your initial thoughts on hearing the announcement?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty similar. It was kind of like we deserve this, like finally, because like you said, I mean, we've played in front of some great crowds. I mean, they had a decent crowd at the playoffs last year. Chicago, like you said, always got a hostile crowd, but even the playoffs in Omaha, like they're not going to pull near the number that we will, and so it's deserved for these fans. They do so much for us. They're like, after every single game, seeing so many of the same faces coming onto the field looking for autographs and stuff like that, they deserve this more than anybody. So especially the lifelong fans that were watching the Crunch 20 plus years ago. Yep. Exactly. This is what the fans deserve, and I'm glad that they're finally getting it. And from the moment that we heard, it was just one step at a time, because as much as you get excited for everything, you have to take care of business in the meantime. We don't really we don't plan on going there and not being the 1 seed, so that means we have to take care of business next weekend, and so since the announcement, we've all it's given us even more motivation and more focus to be and perform at the best of our ability, because we know what this is going to mean to us ourselves, but just the city of Cleveland as well.
I completely agree, and I have to ask this because I knew how I felt as a player when I was finally able to coerce getting an indoor football team up here. So, what was your family's reaction when they one when you first made the team last year, and then what was their reaction when they found out finals weekend was going to be here?
When I first made the team, I my parents aren't they're not super in tuned with the pro soccer scene in Ohio really. So they're super supportive always, no matter what I was doing, they're always showing up to my games and stuff. But they didn't really understand what it meant until they came to the first game and realized how serious it was. And well, yeah, once they heard the playoffs were in Cleveland, they started reaching out to all their family, everybody that they know that lives in Ohio. They're trying to get them out because they my family is gigantic. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the Arab culture, but we
Hmm.
we run pretty deep, and so and not many of them have gotten to see me play. So the opportunity to have them see me play in this kind of an arena and this kind of occasion is so important, and I'm just so blessed to have this opportunity. And I just, yeah, again, not looking past next weekend, but super excited for it.
I'm excited for you guys. Now, with that being said, because you brought it up, when you got on the team, played sparingly, but when you were in, you were playing fantastically. You go to Omaha, you win the championship. What was that feeling like for you as a first year player coming in, winning a championship, and then coming into the next season knowing you got to win another? What was that feeling like?
Oh man, that weekend in Omaha is one of the best weekends of my life. Especially just I I say this to I've said this to a couple people, but I felt like I was cursed before this past year. The amount of I lost two state finals in high school, lost a couple state cup finals with my club team in high school, um, lost OAC playoffs, three times when I was in college. So I was feeling like I was cursed. And so then going that weekend in Nebraska and winning it all just felt like such a relief off my shoulders. And that feeling that you get, you just you want it more and more. Like ever since that day, I've wanted to feel that feeling again, and so that's been my motivation for a lot of this is like I want that same experience, and then to have the opportunity to do it in front of your home fans is you can't beat it.
I have to agree with that one because I was feeling the same way up until 2019. I was like, "Hey, man, I can't get one.
Right.
I had won one in 2012. And I was like, man, that's a long time to win another one. You can't give me one. Like, give
Right.
me one more, one more. So when I finally did, I was like, yeah, this is a great feeling. So I'm not gonna say I miss it, but it was a great feeling. I will give you that. So I agree. I have no arguments there. Uh, only thing I have to ask after that is, uh, what's next for you, or what are you gonna do in the off season? God willing, Crunch, go back to back. What's next for you in the off season? Coaching, you know,
um
rest, parties.
no, I like to play. I like to play all year round. This is all I really know how to do. So yeah, I'll coach some in the summer, but I play for a team called Ambassadors FC Ohio. Shout out to them. But yeah, that's my summer team. So I'll be playing NPSL actually against Cleveland SC, who I know a lot of the Cleveland Crunch fans.
Of course.
Um, yeah, they support Cleveland SC. So I'm gonna be on the other side of these Crunch fans for the first time, um, which looking forward to seeing them. But of course, I'm gonna have to do my best to upset them that day. Um,
Well, to be fair, a lot of Cleveland SC is the Crunch. Let's
correct.
go there from Mike to Sveko to the great Vinny Bell. For those that don't know, Vinny made a couple appearances this year. We hope he's in it for the long run, at least through the playoffs or the finals. So, Vinny was one of my favorites, even with Cleveland SC.
Yeah,
Vinny was one of those guys.
yeah,
And I was happy to see Vinny back. And, you know, I love the chemistry between you guys and how well you mesh with Coach Manfoot as players to coaches. And not just it's nothing against past coaches of the Crunch, but this iteration of the Crunch reminds me of the first championship team with Hector, Otto, Zoran. You know, it's a dangerous combination of a great coach and a great squad. And when you have that combination, it is scary. And teams have problems, as people have watched. Teams have problems. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you play against the team where the coaches is psychopaths and the players are worse?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're proud to have you guys. I'll be the first one to tell this story. Like when we first got word that you guys were coming back, I thought it was clickbait because we hadn't heard anything before 2021. And then when I went to the press conference and saw that it was real, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be at every game I can. I'm not missing this one. So this is one of those feelings where, as a media person and then as a fan, I'm happy to be part of something like this because you don't normally come across opportunities like this. So I like to personally thank you guys for allowing the 216 Sports Network to be part of this because this is awesome.
Well, I'm honored myself, and honestly get a little bit of that fandom kind of, because when I don't know if you paid much attention, but when AFC Cleveland won the national championship in 2016, I was 14 years old, and I went and watched the game, and Antonio Manfoot, Mikey Derizic, Admir Suljovic, Dave Jordan, Bobby Chanchar, Chris Vecco, all these guys, I went and I saw them play as a fan growing up. And so then, it all comes full circle when it becomes your teammates. And yeah, it's just been such an amazing experience. And I thank the Crunch for so much. Thank fans as well. But yeah, just people like you that love the team so much and pour so much effort into us. It makes it easy to play and to want to give everything you have.
Now I have to be honest because I wish I did have the opportunity to see Coach Manfoot before he turned to coaching full time, because I hear the stories and I'm like, hey, he couldn't have been like that. And then last year he puts on the jersey and he just goes on a tear, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
this is outrageous. But I will say this: I think watching this year's team, I think it's not a bad funny, but it's like, I don't know if people realize stat wise, you are the least fouled Crunch player, and then Mike Durzic is the most fouled Crunch player. And every game that I've been at in person where we're able to sit on the sideline with you guys, I look at that part and I'm like, of all people, why are you fouling Mike? Why not foul? And I'm not saying this to wish bad on you or anything, but I'm like, if you're gonna foul anybody, why not foul Omar? At least with Omar, he's gonna get up, he'll smile, and then later on in the game, he'll catch you slipping. You foul Mike, and then all of a sudden, 3 goals are scored, and you don't know
Right.
You don't know how to stop it. I'm like, y'all need to stop making Mike mad, because
Right.
for the last 5 years, anytime you foul Mike, 3 goals are scored back to back to back. You foul Omar, at least Omar is going to give you some leeway so you forget about the fact that you fouled him. And then he scores. And now you're like, all right, we got to pay attention to him.
Yeah.
So
that is a funny stat. I never thought about that.
I know you guys look at film, but as a player, you're not looking at, well, he didn't foul me or he fouled me. You're looking at the overall, how did we do? What can we make better? Or what can we fix that we did wrong? But I've just been there and I've watched it, and I'm just paying attention to the fact that there are guys that they go after. And I'm like, of all people, y'all going after him? Y'all going after Blackwood? Y'all going after Sammy? Like, why are you going after the obvious? Why not foul the guy that can't make the free throw? Foul Shaq. Don't foul Allen Iverson or Kobe. Don't foul LeBron. Foul Shaq. At least if you foul Shaq, he ain't gonna make all of them. But you fouling all the actual goal scorers.
Right.
I don't understand it, but hey, it works in our favor, so I'm not gonna complain.
Right.
Well, that concludes this episode of Crunch Time. Omar, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I know you got a lot going on. I know Coach Manfoot is working y'all to get y'all ready for next week. So while I'm thinking about it, March 29th and March 30th, the Crunch will be in Chicago to play not only the Chicago Mustangs, but PAL Chicago. I believe both of those, one of those is a 7 p.m. start. I know the Mustangs like to play at 7 p.m. And then PAL Chicago, I believe, is at 5 p.m.
I want to say it's earlier. I want to say it's 1 or 2 Central.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because this is Chicago. Chicago is an hour behind, so 1 p.m. sounds about right. So if we got that wrong, I apologize, but we will update it with week or posts coming up soon. So, just stay tuned to the Go Live on the MLIS or ClevelandCrunch.com, because I got a feeling there's going to be 2 championships coming back to Cleveland, and I'm calling it. There's going to be a regular season crown, and then there's going to be that big man. That trophy was huge.
Yeah.
I remember having you on. I remember having you guys on the show a little bit after you guys won it last year. It was you, Ryan Ruiz. Shout out to Ryan, and Jacob Roberto. So shout out to Jacob as well. And I was mad that y'all couldn't bring the trophy, but then when this year rolled around, and I was able to see the trophy, I'm like, wow, that trophy's huge.
It's a big trophy. Yeah.
And I'm mad because I wish football had those kind of trophies, because I would. That's a picture I would have loved to take. I had to take a picture with this. The trophy was like this big, weighed a pound. I think soccer gets the best trophies. I don't know why everybody else hasn't picked up on making the trophy a little bit more extravagant.
I don't know.
But again, thank you, Omar. We appreciate you being on. Again, we're gonna give you your flowers. So you deserve it.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for having me as well. It's always a pleasure coming on here.
Oh man, anytime you want to be on here, man, we got y'all. We got the whole team covered. Y'all know y'all are friends of the show, so y'all are welcome anytime. But we got to get out of here. I ain't gonna keep you up. I know Coach got a curfew. So for Crunch Time, that is Omar. I am Mel, and we will see you guys later.
It's Taco Day, B.